So today we're going to talk about the murals again. We're going to talk about where we're going to go next Tuesday, the site visit. Okay. Does anybody have a class immediately after this one? This gets over at 12:15 on Tuesdays. Yeah. No. Okay. We'll try to be back on campus at 12:15. Okay. Even if I just have to drop you guys off, or whoever's riding with me, if I have to drop you off, we can do that. I just want to know in case I'm gonna try to stay close to campus so that we don't go over the time too much. We'll leave at 11, or as close to 11 as we can. All right. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. All right, let me do attendance. Am I on guest? All right, Gabby's here, Allie's here, Liam, Evan's not here, Arlette, Sam, Claire's not here, Xavier's here, Bridget's here, Macy's here, Colin's. Okay. Great. Okay, so multifunction furniture critique was Tuesday night. I have not looked at them yet. My plan is to grade them today, or to go through and leave comments today. If you didn't leave comments on other students, you need to do that. So make sure that is done. Even if you do it today, they'll just be like 5 points taken off for being a little late. But you got to have those comments, right? It's better to get some of the points than it is to not get any of the points. The final for that is then due on Tuesday. Mural sketch review will be the following Tuesday. The 20th, next Tuesday, we are going to do the site visits like I was just talking about. Okay. Today, I want to be mural research, so you need to. We're going to spend most of the time on the internet looking at different types of murals, trying to really narrow down what sort of style you want to do, and what kind of mural you want to do, be it like something political, something more conceptual, something realistic, something not realistic. Find a style that you enjoy and then decide how you want to execute yours from there. Okay, you can do all of this before we do the site visit. Now, the site visit might change your mind a little bit, but it's good to kind of have a sense of how maybe you want to approach this before we even do that. Okay, sort of like trying to narrow down your aesthetic sensibilities. You guys know what I mean by that, right? Aesthetic sensibility. Okay, great. Are there any questions about that, or what we're doing and what's due, and etc.? No? Great. All right. As far as site visits go, oops. I'm throwing a couple around in my head. I want to stay close to campus. So I was thinking we could do, let me see. I don't know why it doesn't let me, you know what, we got to use Google Maps for this, unfortunately. All right. This is what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe we could go to CHI, the CHI Center, and this big underside would be really interesting, I think, to maybe do something for. Like, it's such a weird and unique piece that is really only mostly visible. Like, if you were to do it from the perspective of someone standing down here, or if you did something that hit this, came down the wall, like I know we were talking about that colorway that was in Chicago. It was one of those examples, right? Look at the surface you've got. You've got this whole curve, this thing, this, and that, and then the sidewalk. Like, this would be a pretty ambitious plan, but I think doable, right? Like, if you hit like that, it would be really interesting. And then doing it from the perspective of someone down on the ground as opposed to somebody standing far away. So they're like looking up at the mural. Does that make sense? So I think we'll go down here and take some pictures. You could also just decide to do like that part or whatever, right? You don't have to do the whole thing. But the idea is to come and get a bunch of pictures from different angles so that you can talk about it, or so that you can put together a plan. Yeah. You have a question? Oh, okay. All right. Hey, she's alive. She's alive. How you doing? Yeah. You weren't here, and so I asked everybody if they knew where you were. We're gonna do a wellness check. Did you watch the recordings from Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do site visits for the murals next Tuesday. One of the places we're gonna go is down to CHI because it's got this big thing and then this whole surface here, which would be really interesting. Like if you wanted to try to do the entire thing or just parts of it, I think that would be really ambitious. Another thing we could do, because they're so close, is these T-bars for the interstate. One of the examples in the video from Tuesday was in LA. They've painted a lot of these under the interstates, and it's really effective. It looks really good. So doing something like that, I think, would be really interesting. And then you could start thinking about sequence, right? Like if you do a bunch in order, you can almost tell like a story or have some kind of design that goes in sequence. Maybe you do a gradient of colors, and so like all together they're like a rainbow or some shit, something like that. Okay. So we're gonna go down here. We're gonna spend probably about 30 minutes walking around taking pictures down here. Okay, it's pretty close. The other place I wanted to go is also nearby. Hold on. Where is it? Sorry, I'm trying to remember which building it is. This one? Wire apartment? No. There is a building down here that has like a brick side. I'm trying to remember which. There's the Orpheum. There's the Paxton. Tear it down? Shoot. It's not this one. This is too small. Yeah, it might be that actually. This might be what I'm thinking of. I thought it was a bigger building. Load. Weird. Okay. Actually, you know what might be interesting? Sorry, I'm thinking maybe the World Herald building. That's got some good flat surfaces there. Like if you could come up with something that plays off of the linear nature of these window slits, right? That is a possibility. So we'll go down there. One of the things about doing the World Herald building, it might be difficult to get good images, mostly because you're not going to get distance away from it. If we're down on the street, if we're down on the street, yeah, you're only going to get stuff like this. So that is not going to be great. Let me get closer. "20 years of working with 3D modeling programs. You think I could handle a mouse?" So you might, in this instance, you might have to do screenshots. Take off my labels. There's a move there. Okay. Well, whatever. So yeah, we could do the World Herald building. Oh, I guess you could do the front if you wanted instead. If you do the front, then you can just got to go to the other side of the Jean Leahy Mall down here. And you should be able to get a good, clean photo like that. With these types of things, if you do decide you want to do like a whole building, the side of a whole building, you can use screenshots from Street View or something. All right, that is okay. The trees being in the way, that's a little bit of a thing, but I'm thinking about like getting an angle here. Nope. Keep going down Farnham. Of course, this all looks very different now. But we could come over here and you could get like a shot this way, something like that, and angle it. You're going to have to account for the trees. So if you were to do something like this, let's take a screenshot. If you're going to do something, oh, I'm getting a lot of messages. Okay, sorry, I wanted to make sure they weren't like, you know, your kid's been in an accident and they're in the ER. Those messages aren't great. Let me see. Yeah, so if you're gonna do a screenshot like that of the exterior of a building, one of the ways that you can handle that is to open it in. Or not Photoshop. Why did I open Photoshop? Open it in Illustrator. When Illustrator eventually opens. And you're going to want to make outlines of it. Okay. You can also do this by hand. Like if you want to just print it out and then put a piece of paper over it, hold it up to a window and trace it that way. That way you get a clean exterior outline of it. Has anyone never used Illustrator? You've never used it? Okay. Are you doing most of your stuff on it? You have an iPad though? Okay. So you could open it in like Procreate as a layer and put a layer on top of it and then just hand trace it with your pen. You know what I mean? Okay. I have mine, so I'll hook it up and I'll show you. God, I have a lot of screenshots. This one maybe? There we go. Okay. So in Illustrator, if you just dump an image in, you can image trace it, which is just if you select the image, it'll show up here in the option bar and just hit image trace. And what we're looking for are something close to that. If you click on this box here, you open up your image trace panel and you can really sort of dial that in. It's too much. Not enough. It's probably too much. Yeah. Let's go custom sketch art maybe. Oh god, no, that's terrible. All right, maybe we will do this in Photoshop. Or you can leave it alone and not do anything. But if you lock it, just make a new layer above it. Grab this one and lock it. On that new layer, you could simply take like a pen tool and do the outline. And then do your design in here, and then through layer blending, no appearance, not appearance. Well, you can play with opacity here. Yeah, and just through blending it into the image, you can make your design look superimposed on it. This is pretty basic. If you want it to be more refined, you could kind of cut the trees out, or you could try to get an image that doesn't have trees in front of it like that. This is why the site visit's going to be important, just so that you can try to find an angle that has less crap in front of it. Like this would be better. or we come down into the pool. That was a time jump, wasn't it? Is there just a guy sitting down there? Just chilling. Just chilling. I know. Just get me out of here. Ugh. There we go. That might be too close. These trees are going to kind of screw that up, but even if you just do this side, you know, it would be better. Again, you just got to kind of try to find your angle. So even if you're doing something like this, this would actually be okay. I would turn the labels off and stuff, which they moved a bunch of stuff around. Oh, no, I don't want to explore. That's not it. Yeah, I know, but I want you to turn off labels. So there we go. Okay, so if we're here, we can take like this screenshot. And this would be a better thing to superimpose your design onto. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. It's gonna, like, how you do that is gonna depend on your existing skill set anyway. Those of you that have not messed with any of this kind of stuff, I'll walk you through a couple of things depending on what you have. Or you've got your iPad, so I'll show you here in a second how to just pop it in there, and you're really just putting a layer above it and then sketching over it or something, blending. Okay, so for our site visit, we're going to do the World Herald building. We're going to do CHI. I had toyed with the idea of coming to this mural and proposing this as a site as well, like redoing this one or doing a different one for this one. This one's pretty good. I think what we're going to do is go look at it anyway, so that'll be our first stop. We'll just come here and look at it for a few minutes, get a sense of what it feels like, the scale of it, what it feels like to walk down it. But then we're going to go hit CHI and we're going to hit the World Herald building. Okay? Make sense? All right. So if you're not satisfied with both of those, either of those sites, you can pick your own site. Those are just the two places we're going to go because they're close to campus and they have good surfaces. Cool? All right. So spend the rest of the time today thinking about trying to find examples of murals that you like, collect those, and put those into a folder. All right. When you're doing these kinds of projects, it's good to have a folder wherever you save stuff. I usually do something like, oh, what's this? Apparently I started an example document. I don't know. But I would do like a folder in here called murals. And then inside here, I would have examples. Oops. Examples, and then this is where I would save all of my examples. All right. This is stuff. Oh, right. This was an example I did a few years ago using the library's wall. Right. So just by taking a photo of the library wall and then superimposing, as an example, an image onto that, and using masks to kind of occlude some of it. I didn't do very good. I didn't finish it up here. Does that make sense, though? So this is a way you could show a design as well. All right? Okay, great. What was design one? It's in there. Oh, I just used images. Just by distorting the images to make them kind of wrap around it. This is an image from one of my artwork. Describe it. So this is ultimately this is the end result that I'm looking for. Like this kind of an example. Can also be hand done, like hand drawn. You want it to be hand drawn, but it does need to include color. And then when we turn in the final, that's going to include material estimate, uh, color information, like how many colors you think need to happen. I think there's a list on the assignment description. Okay. All right. All right. Spend the rest of class doing some research. I'll come around and talk to you guys. Um, does anyone have an idea of a place other than the two that I brought up today that they might want to do? Remember, don't do anything on campus. It's because it's too easy. Okay. Does that have a good surface? Okay, you're not sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That would be good. Me. Sure. Is it, let's see, right here? Yeah, right here. Which part? Because there's Methodist here. This is all done, of course.
Yeah, it is pretty. From what I remember, when I'm doing that wall.
This? Okay. I know it's a bunch of different panels, and then I think the panels have like a reflective material on them. But that, yeah, that would work. I think there's a big screen right here too, or something. I drive by it almost every day. Yeah. 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 Yeah, like that colorway in Chicago. Yeah, absolutely. That's the other thing. Like if you've got an idea, like maybe you want to do like this whole stretch of Dodge and have the ground, the road be a mural. That's a great idea. Yeah. The only thing with that is you got to think in terms of it's not going to last very long because it's getting driven on, right? And then they're always redoing roads. No, I don't. Um, I don't think they're going to care. That's the problem, right? And then you need to also remember that people are going to see it from ground level, right? So there's like a whole history of trompe l'oeil. I can't say it. I can't speak French. It's trick of the eye, is what it is, and it's painting in such a way, like introducing distortion into painting, even though like this is the side of a building that does not actually look like this, but they paint it like this to make your eye think that it does. Or painting from, let's see, that's fun. That's a flat surface. It's not actually a hallway. You know, it's kind of that Wile E. Coyote thing. But what was I looking for? There are might be under the Wikipedia article. There are a bunch of paintings that have like these blobs. Like if you look at them straight on, they've got like these blob-looking forms. And if you look at the painting from a really severe angle, those blobs come together and they're like skulls and stuff. It's because the angle you see it at, you need that foreshortening to happen. You know what I'm talking about? Like, which painting is it? This one. So this painting has this blobby thing right here, right? But if you see it from like, yeah, that angle. Actually, if you come up here, you have to like, you're like right here, then you can really see that it's a skull. Like you can kind of tell that it's a skull, but it looks like a normal one here. So those sorts of things are effective for streets or foreshortened, like even on the sides of buildings. If you're standing at the bottom of a building and you have this like, you want things to look normal from the bottom of it, then you have to really skew it and make it really big. Has anyone seen Michelangelo's Da Vinci? Anyone actually been to Italy? No? Okay, I haven't either. But one of the things that's really interesting about it is that if you see the sculpture from, well, ways away, so you can see the whole thing at once, you notice that his head is really big, shoulders are really big, elbows, like everything bigger than it should be. It's not proportional. That's because it's meant to be seen from like, right? You look at it like that. So it's been sculpted in a way, distorted in order to take into account continuity. So murals, you got to think. If your mural's going to be huge, like a building on the road, right? People are going to be really up close to it. So if you want them to really see it, you've got to distort it. You can. Does that make sense? Yeah, that was a good question. I love the idea of like doing something on the sidewalk. There's actually a bunch of examples of road murals. I think if you did it like in a pedestrian only area, that would be good. You could even propose, like, you could do it for a road or something in Omaha, and then just be like, this should be a pedestrian only area, like in Dundee or something. Or do you know where Dundee is? Okay. Or Benson, right? Those sorts of places. You guys ever see those really elaborate sidewalk chalk, sidewalk paintings that? Yeah. Um, yeah, like this stuff. I love these things. You freak people out. Look at that. So these have to be seen from a certain angle in order to actually look like this. So stuff like this is also like, this is something you could do as well. Yeah.
Right.
This?
Yeah. Like how long is that? I know.
I don't know. If you paint it correctly and treat it correctly, yeah. A lot of times you have to put like a coat over it after you get done painting it to keep it from flaking off and to protect it. Keep the sun from damaging it too much. That's the other thing you got to think about. Like, if you're doing the side of a building, how does that side face the sun? How much sunlight does that side get? We're in the northern hemisphere, so anything on the south is going to get a ton of sun. Anything on the east and the west is going to get a bit of sun, not as much, and the north isn't going to get really any sun. Things to think about. Okay? All right, spend the rest of the time doing some research. I'll come around and answer questions if anybody has them. And then Tuesday where I want to meet. Do you guys know the visitors lot at 24th? Like out in front of the lead art building, fine arts building? Yeah? We're going to be in the visitors lot. All right? Colin's not here today. I know he had